Hello everyone, welcome to my next update on my YouTube channel. So this is my channel where I'm putting my progress on how I'm doing with my property journey. In this update I'm going to, first give you an update of where I am, and then I'm actually going to show a tool that I've built which will help with flip calculation. So let's get started. No fancy editing on this one, it's done straight from my laptop. So where am I with my journey? So I've just completed all the Samuel Leeds live training. I've still got online training to do, and of course still part of the Samuel Leeds community and going to networking events and doing that kind of thing. My last course update was the deal selling masterclass, financial freedom. Very, very interesting. And one of the things I was doing on that course was looking at flip deals. So we found some people who I was working with who were looking at properties, and we were just looking at, okay, how do we calculate flip deal? How do we know it's a good deal? I think one of the big skills in property is knowing if it's a good deal or not, knowing what the real valuation is. So I also got some feedback from my BRR calculator tool. Now, I have done a previous video about that where I've shown it, and a light bulb went off with me, and I can very easily convert the spreadsheets that I was working on into an online tool, which will help me. I do all this stuff for me primarily. It basically helped me work out when I get the numbers on a deal, am I going to actually get a return on my investment, or is it something to walk away from, and how can I make that calculation quickly? So what I'm going to do is show you guys and girls what I've come up with. Thank you very much. If anyone from the Academy is watching this, anyone who's met me and has given me some updates, I've received a few people who've come to me and said, improvements that I can make. That's been really useful, and hopefully keep them coming, and hopefully you'll like what I've got here. So I just want to explain what this flip calculator is. So this is kind of the standard thing that all the property sellers, all the property trainers, pretty much have the same techniques and tactics. So what we're doing is we're creating a search funnel. What we're trying to do is find as many leads as possible. We go to Rightmove, we do leaflet campaigns, deal source, property filter, a lot of different places where we get as many leads as possible. We then book viewings on them. Now a lot of these will fall out because they won't actually be available, there'll be some problems, but then we do our due diligence. We do it in this order because we want to make sure that we don't spend lots of work on our spreadsheets working out a deal which has already been sold. So we book the viewing, we then do the due diligence. If we don't like it, we'll just cancel the viewing. Otherwise, we view the property and then we'll make final strategy. And I think I'm not going to go into the final steps. I might show these later on, but most people in the academy and most people who are into property will know this, because everybody teaches exactly the same thing. Now, there's certain formulas that are shown around. So one of them that I use a lot is the purchase price. So GDV times 75% minus refurb. That will tell you if you get money out of a deal, and that's one of the key formulas. But there's certain category of formulas which come in at this first stage, which I would call search formula criteria. So basically, if you are looking on Rightmove, what settings do you put in to find your leads before you book viewings? And I've actually done some stuff about this. I've got kind of drawn out. So this is one, you can't actually see it. Basically, this is if I want to get a 4-bed HMO in a town I was looking in, and I said I want to make sure that I don't actually mind leaving money in as long as I get it out in at least 2 years. But that gives me the criteria, and it shows me what the purchase price and the refurb has to be in order to make that happen. And so I might actually do some calculators for this later on, but I'm just starting on that part. What I want to show you today is the flip calculator. Now, it's very similar to the BRR calculator. So what we're doing with a flip is we're going to buy a property, do some work on the property, and then sell the property and make a profit on that. So this is a second set of calculations. So I only do this after the viewing's booked. You wouldn't do this on Rightmove. You've just seen it on Rightmove because you don't know if the property is available. There is another set of calculations then, and then go into even more detail in a DD pack. I might talk a little bit about that later on when I get to that stage. But at the moment, what I've done is I've worked out some calculations that I'm using to look at flips, and so I will show these now. Now, one of the things is this is on my website which I've created. So this is my website. If you want to go there yourself, it's evernetproperties.com. There's a QR code up here which you can scan on, or you can just type in evernet.properties.com. This will work on the phone and also on your laptop. I prefer to use it on the laptop. And when you get there, just click Tools, and you'll see this new icon here, Flip Calculator. BR Calculator's been there for a while now. So let's have a look at it. So when I find a deal to flip, I basically type divisions. Sometimes it's just to do a renovation and then sell it. Sometimes you're reconfiguring it. There's different things you can do. So I'm going to type in renovation here, and then let's spell it right. And then all of the different bits of information goes into these cards. So we've got a GDV card, purchase price card, refurbishment, stamp duty, other costs, finance, and then finally a rating. Now, if you've used a BR calculator, you'll recognise these cards because they're the same cards, but it's just much simpler now. There's less noise because you're only putting in the bits of information that you need for the flip. One thing you'll notice I've also changed is that you can actually now type in the price. These are quite good, these sliders, but sometimes it's quite tricky to put the figure in. As before, we're putting in a worst price and a best price. I want to know, if I'm going to make an investment, what the worst situation is going to be. What's the worst? Because we don't actually know. The calculators tell you what we think most likely will be the result of an investment. It's not 100%. This is predicting the future. We're just trying to get it as predictable as possible, but it's not perfect. So what we're going to do is put in the worst price and put in the best price. So let's look at an imaginary property. Well, I've got one here on Rightmove. I haven't even seen if it's a good flip or not, but let's look at it. So, Liam Road, let's say it offers in excess of 425. So we can say, okay, imagine we'll do some work on this. Obviously, it's 425. We think we can do work on it, and we can make it worth. It might be worth 500 or 550. Now this is quite close here, so I can just type this in. 550. So that's the final valuation. Now you can use this plus as before. This card is the same as what's on the BRR calculator. So if we were dividing this into two flats, and the two flats would have values individually, we can put in individual values. But don't want to do that. I'm just putting in the gross. The GDV, the final amount. This is what we think that we are going to be able to sell it for. And next is the purchase price. So let's have a look. It's on at 425. That's going to be the worst price. I expect to get it for less than that. So let's say best price 380. So just so we got a range of values there. So this is what we can go and negotiate. We can purchase the property for. And then how much is the refurbishment going to cost? So, this is, we just put in what we normally would quoted the builder. So let's say you're doing this once you've looked at the property, you're trying to get a realistic estimate as to what your refurb cost will be. So let's say I want to spend maybe, I don't know, 71 to 46,000 pound. Now I'm just going to ignore the duration. The duration isn't important unless you have got a mortgage. Unless you're going to buy with a mortgage. In this case, I'm thinking of buying cash, so I'm not going to worry about the duration, but I'll come back to it later. As before, we'll calculate stamp duty, so we can say it's commercial if we're exempt from stamp duty, and it gives us the rate, and there's a detail of how that's worked out. And then other costs. So this section, you'll notice I've expanded this a lot since last time. I've added an auction section, so if we're buying an auction, it adds some of the charges. This isn't complete. There's a lot more charges when you buy at auction, so we're not checked that. But this one here, found using a deal sourcer. So click there, deal sourcers. Typically they'll charge either 3,000, 2% of the purchase, or maybe something else, in which case you can put in to something else. But let's imagine I found a deal sourcer and they're going to charge me £3,000 for finding the deal. Should be a good deal. If I make more than £3,000, it's definitely worth paying a deal sourcer. And then finally a survey. And the way you see these information icons, I've added some more links, more information. So this is a RIC survey. So I got some numbers on how much a risk survey would cost, and I got it from this website. So I thought I might as well put the link to the website so you can see for yourself. There's the table of figures. So depending on the value of the properties, how much level 1, level 2 or level 3 surveys are. And so I've kind of just put there the different calculation, and it'll add it to the calculation before. From the finance point of view, this is going to tell us first of all total expenditure that we'll need for the project, and then we can fund it through loans or through a mortgage or through a bridge, and then the final cash that you'd have to put in. Now I think for the flip, bridge isn't a good option. I don't think you generally would use you wouldn't use a bridge to do the flip, at least I'm not aware of any situations where you would. I'm going to leave this and just do this as a cash purchase. And then finally we've got the flip deal rating. So this is based on the calculations that I've been doing, and in my spreadsheets when I've been looking at flip deals, and that's actually based with lots of mentor calls with mentors from St. Leeds Academy, and also other research, and talking to absolutely everybody that I can talk about. So you see we purchased the property, so we've got the worst case, best case, stamp duty, the other costs as we put before. These are basically the sums of all the other cards, refurbishment, and then the finance costs are catered for there. Total money in, the GDV, which we put in before, so this is how much we think we can sell it for, and then the sales cost. So if you go to an agent and you want to sell the property, then you will pay that cost, and then you can see gross profit. So you can see this is a terrible deal. We would lose £43,000, so we wouldn't make any profit. Now I've also taken into account corporation tax. Now I haven't seen anyone else do this. I think the reason is a lot of the online stuff and a lot of the materials I find are built for deal sources or by deal sources, but I'm an investor, and what I care about is my return on investment, and the amount of tax and profit the tax on the profit I need to pay is important. But I won't enter into the deal if I have to pay a ton of tax on it. So maybe it's a profitable deal, but then I pay tax and it's not profitable. That means that I wouldn't want to do it. So I look at a percentage. So I've just used corporation tax at 19%. Now it's way more complicated than that. But you may have expenses to offset the profit against. This is only if you're buying it in a company, and also there's a threshold where you actually pay more than 19%. But just for a flat rate, I thought, how will I analyse the deals that I'm looking at, whether they're good for me or not? And my personal choice is I wanted to put in 19%, and then the other tax things I can handle later on. If I'm buying multiple properties and I'm making more profit than that, then there'll be a later thing for me to worry about. So just worrying about this now. And then the metric here. So I've been given lots of advice and lots of different values. Some people said 10% uplift is okay. Some people 20%. Some people 23%. Now it's kind of a personal choice, but my thinking behind it is, this is a risk. You're putting money into something. You have a risk in what you're doing. So there's a certain profit that you're going to get in order to make it worth the risk. And also it's lots of time and effort. You've got to do a refurbishment. You've got to manage the whole project, manage builders. So you do expect you can't, if you break even, you're actually making a loss because you put your time, your effort into it. So this feature here just says whether you're making an uplift. So I've just made it so that if it's less than 20%, it's going to give you a red cross. If I make more money, so I can do that by increasing the purchase price. Sorry, not increasing the purchase price, that won't make money. Increase the final valuation. Let's do it really high. And you can see now it's turned green. We've got more than 23%. Now if it's between 20 and 23, it gives you a kind of a yellow one that's kind of in the middle. So that's the basic use of the flip calculator. So it comes off a spreadsheet that I built, and I've been using this to look at particular deals. Now I can add finance to this, so I can say I'm going to take a loan off my dad to help buy this for 150k. Then it calculates that 10%, because that loan I've had to pay 10% interest, so that will be 15k. So you can say it's taken the finance costs out of that as well, and it will do similar if I buy it with a mortgage. But I think if you flip, do you want to use a mortgage? That's a whole other set of questions there, but it will give the finance cost for a mortgage. So that's the flip calculator. I think that's all I want to say for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you do want to try it yourself, you get your phone out, you can scan this and QR code. You can go to the website. If I've ever given you a business card, this QR code's on the back. I would like people to try it out and see what you think. Now, I think before you invest in anything, always check the calculations, understanding yourself. I'm just giving this to you as is, and there's definitely mistakes and issues with it. So make sure you understand what it's doing. But then this might be a tool that you can use to do things, speed up your search and find things. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I should be giving another update soon.